How's it going, guys? It's Biggs here, and today we're going to talk about week 1 of the PFA, Pokemon Forever Association, and talk about my team and what I'm going into and the results of all that. So, yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like, leave a comment down below what you're thinking about this video, all that, and yeah, let's get into this. So, week 1, I'm up against this team called the 3 Minute Absols. She's also known as Carly, or that's the head coach. And honestly, she has quite the built-up team right here. Just kind of looking through her team, right off the bat, she has her S tier pick with Garchomp, which is actually really insane in this day and age, especially with Scale Shot, Sword Stance, just really hitting hard with, over 100 speed, 130 attack. Also pretty bulky as well, so I definitely thought Garchomp is a menace to my team for sure. After Garchomp, we have Galarian Darmanitan. Now, this is not going to be Gorilla Tactics. We only allow Zen Mode Darm. But even then, 140 speed, 95 speed, or 140 attack, my bad, and 95 speed. And then when it goes into Zen mode, just having that amplified even more. Very strong ice fire type in that manner. So yeah, just right off the bat, 2 strong mons, and it keeps getting crazier. We got Sylveon right here. Sylveon's pretty tanky, special defensively. It can set up quite a bit, and yeah, it's just quite bulky. It hits hard. Yeah, this can definitely be a problem for me, and we'll get more into that. And the synergy kind of goes in more and more as we get later into this with Moltres, just fast, hits hard. Or 90 speed's not insanely fast, but it works with the bulk it's got. Diddle with Imposter, basically stopping any terms of setup, because then it gets my boosts with whatever mon I have and then bops me on the head for that, which is kind of frightening. So I definitely thought this came for sure, or would come. Heracross, also pretty scary. Just a strong bug fighting type with a lot of attack, and then Moxie or Guts, both great abilities. So Heracross, also scary. Exploud, the stats don't really look like all that much, but then with Boom Burst, with Stab and all that, 210 base power after Stab, actually does quite a bit to my team. So that was also threatening. Ninjask, very fast, while still being able to do some damage here and there. Didn't think this was actually as much of a threat as to say Heracross, but it's still there. Ferrothorn, we all know Ferrothorn, just tanky, sets up hazards, all that, Leech Seed. Just a really amazing, just grass steel type. Rotom Wash, Defog and Zap Hydro Pump hits pretty hard, especially with Volt Switch as well. Kind of making me force some sort of like super effective move on it to get rid of it. So yeah, this is definitely a threat as well, on top of like Will-O-Wisp, T-Wave, all that. Wheezing, just a nice bulky defensive mon. Nothing much else to say. Resists its like biggest weakness, or is immune to it because of Levitate. But yeah, Wheezing's there. And then last but not least, we got Homeboy Kadabra, with actually pretty solid speed and special attack. Pretty frail otherwise, but still hits pretty hard. So yeah, GS's team of 12, which is quite honestly very terrifying. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. And yeah, for as to what I thought would come to the game, I was thinking for sure Garchomp, Galarian Darmanitan, and well, these two, I didn't necessarily think Sylveon and Moltres as much, just because of just my threats with like Corviknight and just like Lycanroc, like the set I have with Lycanroc can mess them up pretty bad. But we'll get more into that in the battle. I definitely thought Ditto would come, just because I do have a few Mons that can set up and sweep. And if it transforms into my Mons, I don't really have that many answers. Especially when my opponent is going to try and like predict me. So I definitely thought Ditto was a hard bring. So we got Garchomp, Galarian Darmanitan, Ditto. I definitely thought Ferrothorn and Rotom Wash would also come, just because they have that good of synergy. Rotom Wash brings hazard removal on top of just status conditions, and also just a really good water type in general. And then Ferrothorn would just set up hazards and tank everything and do whatever it can to eat up my hits. So let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then what was it? My last prediction of like who would come to the game was maybe Sylveon. Still didn't really think it would come as much. And then between Heracross and Exploud, because doing some calcs here and there, Heracross would do a lot to say Cresselia or like really any of my other ones. It didn't matter if they were like frail or bulky, like it can still just hit so hard. And like a Scarf set with whatever, or even Guts can really mess me up with Flame Orb or something. And then Exploud, assuming Exploud were to like run specs or something, choice specs, Boomburst just destroys my team. And with the speed tiers I kind of have, he can just, or yeah, Exploud can just put like a specific amount of speed into what it needs to outspeed and just be completely fine. So for the team I thought she was going to bring, Carly, I assumed she was going to bring Garchomp, Galarian Darmanitan, Ditto, Ferrothorn, Rotom Wash, and then at the end, kind of between Heracross, Exploud, and Sylveon. So yeah, that's it for really what I thought she was going to bring. As for what I prepped for and how my team's looking going in, we have quite a bit. So first off, we have Homeboy Victor, Arcurum, running a Choice Scarf with Draco, Ice Beam, Freeze Dry, and Flash Cannon. So the idea behind this set, also just straight up timid with full EVs into special attack and speed. So the idea behind this set was to make sure I outspeed Garchomp at base speed, assuming Garchomp didn't get off like a skill shot or something, and just deal with Garchomp. Have, with Scarf, be able to take on Darmanitan in some fashion. Sylveon, I have Flash Cannon just in case that was brought, just so I could do some super effective damage. We'll see how that turns out. Ditto was kind of more of a speed tie. If I had to go up against that thing, it would just be whoever clicked Draco first. Or not who clicked it first, but who just wins the speed tie. So with Ditto, there was that. Heracross, I didn't want Heracross to outspeed me if it was Scarfed. with like close combat or something. So running, timid with all of that, uh, and just click a Draco on that, or maybe even an Ice Beam if it gets low enough uh, against Heracross. So there is that. Exploud, I think same situation if that was Scarfed. Yeah, no. If y'all don't know, I just don't like Scarfs at all. Like, fighting it at least, just because Scarfs can mess with a lot. But anyhow, Exploud can do quite a bit, but I can do quite a bit back to it because it's just kind of frail here and there. Ferrothorn, my best moves would be Ice Beam for sure, but at the end of the day, it's Ferrothorn, so I can't really do much to hit it hard with Kyurem at least. I have other mons that are supposed to do that job a little bit more as we get into the team a little bit more. But Rotom Wash, Freeze Dry, does some good damage. I think it's a 2-hit KO, but even then, it's still good damage. I would just kind of have to hope if I'm in that 1v1 scenario that runs Will-O-Wisp instead of T-Wave, because I would rather have my attack stat halved instead of my speed stat. So there's that. Also, Cantorian Wheezing, or Cantonian, whatever you call that, Wheezing, pretty doesn't have that much speed def anyhow, so I can just hit it with good old Draco or Ice Beam even. And then Kadabra, again, pretty frail. I think I could take a hit from it, but I could still do some damage. So overall, Victor was kind of like more of a check to like the bigger mons like Garchomp and Darm, and maybe if I had to face off Ditto, it could do that. But yeah, that is Homeboy Kyurem. And then after Kyurem, I kind of thought I need to bring Blacephalon, or as I like to call him, Hocus. So Hocus is also Choice Scarfs. I kind of thought because I'm base 107 speed, I can run mild instead. And again, just with like Kyurem, just put it on special attack and speed. And then my moveset is Fire Blast, Shadow Ball, Mind Blown, and Explosion. So the idea with Hocus is it just hits really hard and does a lot of damage. Like, I would catch something on a switch in and then hit a move that I know my opponent could not really take. So with the coverage I have, I could outspeed Garchomp, and I could get off a Shadow Ball if he were to go into that. Or with Darmanitan, obviously that's Ice type, Fire Blast, or even Mind Blown if I'm going for big damage with Mind Blown. So there's that. Sylveon, I know it's kind of bulky in that, this Spadef range, but not as much in its defense. So I kind of thought of that as, let me run as like a last haven thing, Explosion. So I would lose Hocus, but at the end of the day, I would deal a lot of damage to Sylveon. So there is that. Moltres can kind of take whatever Hocus throws at it. Shadow Ball is obviously my best move, but at the end of the day, I can still do some damage with that 151 base special attack. Ditto, same thing with Kyurem. Since I have that Scarf on, it would be that Speed Tie and Hope and Pray. But yeah, I would really hope in the battle I would not get in that situation, but it would be what it would be. It is what it is. Yeah. Heracross does not outspeed my set at all. I can just bop it, Fire Blaster, Mind Blown. Exploud, also doesn't outspeed me, and I can just hit it pretty hard. I think after what was it? I think it was like after Hazards, I would OHKO with especially with Mind Blown, but at the end of the day, Hocus is still doing a lot of damage. So there is that. Ninjask, Frail, Ferrothorn does not like Hocus at all. This is actually one of my bigger checks to Ferrothorn. Just hitting it with Fire Blast or Mind Blown and getting off damage on whoever wants to switch on that. So there's that. Rotom Wash can actually kind of take on Hocus, but worst case scenario, I still outspeed and I can use Explosion or Shadow Ball. Preferably Shadow Ball, but if it gets down to it, I could Explosion. Wheezing, again, special defense not that great, so I can run like Fire Blast on it or Mime again. Just any of its steps do well against it, and then I should be able to outspeed a Kadabra just fine, assuming it's like Sash or something, and take it on pretty well. So, yeah, overall, Blacephalon's just like this very hard-hitting mon that would hopefully get some damage off, and just keep stacking that up as we get later into the game. So, yeah, that's good old Hocus. After Hocus, we got Silvally popping up. Silvally Fairy. You're going to see a lot of Silvally this season, especially just different types and all that, just because I think it's going to be so versatile and important for like what I need it for. So this Silvally, Ishvalda, if you get the reference, I love you, but our Ishvalda right here is going to run Heat Wave, Ice Beam, Parting Shot, and Magic Coat, with a little bit more variety in EVs, so a little bit in HP, a lot more in defense and special attack, and then a little bit in speed def and modest nature. So the idea behind this set, and really what it is, as like this is gonna be my lead mon, for a few reasons. For one, I'm running Magic Coat, and so what that does is that's a priority move where I just get like a little screen up, and then the leading mon, preferably Ferrothorn or maybe even Rotom Wash, tries to get off like a Hazard or status condition, and then I just bounce that right back to their like the opponent's side. So this is more of a lead mon that can eat up whatever physical attacks come its way while still dealing a lot of good damage to the threats I need gone. So with this set, I would be able to kind of take on the Garchomp and hit it back with an Ice Beam. I can Heat Wave the Darmanitan Galar. Sylveon, I can't really take on as much, in which case I would Parting Shot and get its, its attack stats lowered, and then just pivot out into something that can take on Sylveon if it were to come. Moltres, kind of the same situation, Parting Shot, but I could still maybe try to get off some damage with Ice Beam, but it's weird. Ditto. So Ditto can't actually do as much to me when I'm with Ishvalda. Excuse me. Mainly just because I have, with the set I have, this sets me up to go into Hocus on Ditto when it's Silvally. So like the best thing Ditto would do is just Parting Shot out. But if it were to do anything else, then that gives me a free switch in to Hocus, and on top of that, just lets me click whatever move I need to on whatever, if he's gonna stay in or just switch out to something else, assuming Ditto Scarfed, of course, but yeah, it's kind of a synergy thing with Hocus and Ishvalda where they kind of just work together against Ditto. Heracross, again, bulk. Since I'm more bulky with defense, I would take it on with that. And Heat Wave, Exploud, I wouldn't really want to stay in, so I would probably just Parting Shot because Boom Burst. Ninjask, Heat Wave, or even Ice Beam, because I'm pretty sure Ice Beam takes it out too. Ferrothorn, that's what Heat Wave is there for. With this investment, I believe Heat Wave is a roll in my favor. So even though I'm Fairy type, I'm so faster, and I could bait in whatever Ferrothorn could do and just Heat Wave it and most likely take it out. What else? Rowan Wash, again, that's like Magic Coat and then Parting Shot out. I can't really do much of it either way. I have other mons for that. Wheezing, I didn't necessarily think Wheezing would come, but if it did, I could still do some damage to it or even Parting Shot out. So there's that. And then Kadabra is frail, but I don't want to really take the risk with that if it were to come. So yeah, Ishvalda is just more of a tank / hard hitter against the big threats that I was really looking on. Garchomp, Darmanitan, and Ferrothorn. And then with Ditto, kind of, if I had that synergy sold there, being able to handle that pretty well as well. So yeah, after these three mons, I kind of just capitalize more on the offense because I like hyper offense. It's what I'm most familiar with. And so I think it's best to bring Lycanroc or our homeboy Palamute, shout out Monster Hunter Rise, and just try to deal as much damage as I can when this thing is in. So this is running Accelerock, Stone Edge, Play Rough, and Close Combat, and max attack, max speed, Adamant Nature, because I don't want to risk anything with speed plus running anything else with a frail mon with like defensive EVs or anything. I don't really think it's that necessary. But with homeboy Palamute, it does a few things. So it's more of a predicting mon, if you will, in terms of I would predict what my opponent would do in terms of switch-ins, and I would predict accordingly to what I think Carly would switch out into. So with Garchomp, I would, if it were to go out into Garchomp expecting like a Stone Edge or an Accelerock, I would hit it with a Play Rough, and then Play Rough actually OHKOs Garchomp, which would be huge. Or Darmanitan, I think either way, with Darmanitan, I have Accelerock, which I'm very certain OHKOs as well. And especially with her team, she kind of lacks priority, so I wanted to capitalize on having that priority to make sure in terms of like late game and even with like other mons like Moltres or Ninjask, I just get them out as soon as possible without getting outsped and losing any health that I could need. So Accelerock or even Stone Edge, maybe even Close Combat with Darm, but most preferably Accelerock. Sylveon, Palamute can actually take on pretty well. With Stone Edge, I believe that does way over half against Sylveon, but there's that. Moltres, obviously, I believe I outspeed, and then on top of that, Accelerock just mollywops, so there's that. If I were to get, what is it? If she had Ditto, and transformed into Lycanroc. I have a Mon later in the list. Hint, their name is Bush, but I do have a counter to that, in which case, or even Ishvalda, with its physical bulk, could maybe take it on as well. Heracross, Play Rough, plus I outspeed if it's not Scarfed. Exploud, Close Combat. I should take it out, assuming, again, not Scarfed. Ninjask, Accelerock, Ferrothorn, I would Close Combat on, but I do not kill, or Oko against it, which is unfortunate, but I still do like 90%, which is quite huge if you ask me. Rhythm Wash, Stone Edge, Wheezing, quite physical, can't really, or it can take on Lycanroc pretty well, but I could still Stone Edge and get off some damage in that case, and then, again, I have Accelerock for, priority against, Kadabra or something. So, overall, I think this is, in terms of, all the Mons I'm bringing this match, this is probably, my win condition in terms of just dealing damage to everyone. So if I lose this, then I don't know how else I will take on everyone else as efficiently. So yeah, but Lycanroc's pretty dope for this matchup. Crawfather, homeboy Crawfather, aka Crawdon, with the Life Orb, Adaptability, Knockoff, Aqua Jet, Close Combat, Dragon Dance, and really all the speed and attack I could get with Lonely Nature. So you're probably wondering why Lonely over Adamant, and that is a great question. So the idea of this set is that, assuming Carly brings Ferrothorn, which I was very certain she would switch in to that. I get off a Dragon Dance, right? I get off a Close Combat, which, assuming it's mid game and I could get off Chip, I can do just amazing damage with that. I think I can take it out from there. And then say Ditto comes in with my boost and adaptability and everything. My switch in would be, and spoilers, or hint I should say, it's Bush. But actually, it'd be more of a mind game, I guess, because if I'm thinking she's gonna knock off, I would go into Ishvalda, or even still go into Ishvalda between knockoff or Close Combat. And then if I think Ditto would Aqua Jet, I would even stay in, or even go into Bush for that case. And if I lose a Mon, for one of these two Mons from Ditto, then I would just go into Palamute. And because Ditto would have a -1 defense and that Lonely Nature, Accelerock with Choice Band should actually kill Crawdon, because it's not necessarily that bulky, especially after a -1. So that was more the big brain plays that I had in mind going into this match. But as for everything else, getting off a D-Dance lets me outspeed a lot and do a lot of damage to a lot of Mons. For example, against Garchomp, I don't know if I would outspeed Garchomp, just off the top of my head, but I would still do a lot of good damage to that. Against Darm, especially if it was Zen mode, Aqua Jet's insane for that matchup because it's just priority. Moltres cannot handle Crawdon at all if I'm already in. Ditto, I've already explained that. Heracross, if I get off a D-Dance and it's not Scarfed, again, I just do really good damage. Kind of more of a 1 on, I think Heracross would probably win that scenario, but even then, I still get off really nice damage for late game and all that. So, yeah, Explode, I'm pretty sure I would outspeed that, assuming it was Scarf. and knock off, take it out. Ferrothorn, close combat, after a D-Dance, run and wash, I could outspeed and knock off. Weezing can take me, but again, don't think that's going to come. And then Kadabra with Aqua Jet to take it on and outspeed. So yeah, Crawfather is just more like this mon who sets up a little bit and then just deals really good damage when the moment arises, and hopefully it would get off damage on like Crawdon, or not Crawdon, Ferrothorn, and maybe even some good damage on like Darm or something. So yeah, looking at this team, or these first 5, and then the last mon, hint, it's Bush. I'm very hyper offensive, and I don't necessarily have, other than maybe Ishvalda and maybe Victor, I don't have that much that can really tank. So with Garchomp, Darmanitan, possibly, Ditto, Heracross, all of that, my last one, I decided to go with Tangela, Homeblade Bush with the Eviolite. You already know, ability regen, and it's going to be running Giga Drain, Leech Seed, Sunspore, and Synthesis, with max bulk in HP and defense, running Bold Nature. So the idea with Tangela is that I would be able to tank Garchomp, I would be able to tank a Ditto if it were to become me, because I don't have knockoff, and all of the moves I have just don't do well against itself, so I can get a free switch into, say, Hocus or Victor, assuming it Giga Drains or something. But yeah, it's also nice against Red and Wash because Giga Drains, pretty solid with 100 base attack, special attack. And yeah, just getting off like Stun Spores for like paralysis, maybe giving back some HP with Leech Seed or Synthesis, and then just the damage overall I would be able to do with Giga Drain and all of that, and just get health back. This is just a very defensive mon, physically defensive, and would just kind of tank whatever Garchomp would throw at it, or even maybe Heracross. I would say Heracross. What is it? Knockoff is definitely bad, but I would probably say Megahorn. It still wrecks me pretty hard. But if it was like Moxie, and if I got off like Sunspore, then I see that as a win, because then my other mons just outspeed it and put in work. So yeah, just a really bulky mon for the team. And yeah, this is what I'm gonna go into the game with. So yeah, let me go ahead and show you the replay of what we have. So this is her squad that she pulls up with. So right off the bat, I don't see a Ditto. So I'm pretty relieved about that. I'm like, okay, I still have a chance. But I didn't necessarily prep as much for the Sylveon and the Moltres. I did not think she would bring Moltres at all, but at the end of the day, she did. So we're gonna work with it, do our thing. I'm gonna put this into dark mode because dark mode's goated. Leave a like if you like dark mode too. But yeah, let's just go kind of show off what happens and then explain my plays here and there. So yeah, battle started. So I'm gonna lead off, like I said, with Ishvalda, and she's gonna lead off with her Curious George, aka Darm. Kind of surprised I'm not seeing the Ferrothorn lead right here. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Curious George could do a lot of damage to me right here, but I could still hit it back with a Heat Wave, which would be pretty huge. So with this lead, she's actually going to U-turn. which is pretty interesting, and go immediately into the Rotom Wash, where I revealed that I have Heat Wave. Kind of a big play, actually, because, what is it? Because now she knows I have Heat Wave for that Ferrothorn and that Darm, so she can plan accordingly with her switch-ins and all that. But yeah, I kind of see Rotom Wash comes in. I'm like, okay, I'm going to bounce back whatever it's going to do. I was hoping for like Toxic, but it's still going to just run Will-O-Wisp, which is still good. I'm not going to complain about that. But yeah, just getting off of that. I was thinking, because she got off one Willow and it's back to burn her, she would maybe think to Will-O-Wisp again, just because, I don't know, she thought, like, oh, I'm going to switch now and just hope and pray she's not going to, like, burn me. The play, I should have gotten to, like, Kyurem right here, but I just Magic Coat again. Just predicting it, and she's actually gonna Hydro Pump right here and do 40, and I'm like, okay, cool. Bad play on my part, more of a blunder, but we're just gonna kind of roll with it, try to do my thing, and I believe I Parting Shot right here, or actually no, I just straight up Hard Switch. Because I believe I would not outspeed Rotom Wash with the IVs I had, or not the IVs, the EVs, and so I was just like, I might as well just hard switch instead of risk more damage on Silvally. So I just do a hard switch as they Volt Switch, which is actually pretty huge, because now they just pivot immediately into Ferrothorn, which is pretty bad for me. I'm going to go back into Ishvalda as they get up rocks. I'm like, okay, whatever. And they're going to go back out into Rotom Wash, expecting me to Heat Wave, which is a good play for sure. And yeah, so that's an interesting play right here for me. Probably should have predicted that Rotom Wash should come in and just Parting Shot into something that can do good damage on a switch in, like say Kyurem or maybe even Lycanroc. But again, we're just gonna roll with it. Burn knocking out that leftovers. I'm gonna Parting Shot right here, and go back into Tangela, because you know me. They're gonna Hydro Pump and miss. I don't think that really matters as much, but it is what it is. They're gonna Volt Switch out, I believe, back into Ferrothorn, into Moltres, and I'm just gonna kind of Giga Drain, expecting him to Hydro Pump again. Or actually, was that Hydro Pump again? Actually, I don't know, because I think they were just trying to get as much damage off Silvally as possible. So then seeing Tangela, they're like, oh shit, let me go out into something that can actually do damage to it. So I'm looking at this situation right here, and I'm like, well, I still have a Rotom Wash to deal with, but it's at 80%. I have my Kyurem in the back, plus my other mons do pretty well against it, Blacephalon and Lycanroc. I'm just gonna kind of see if I can get off a Stun Spore, and oh, nope. I go down immediately. So I was gonna sack it either way. Hopefully, maybe she would like try to like outpredict me and do something weird, but at the end of the day, she didn't. So that's kind of unfortunate, but that still gives me a free switch in to Homeboy Palamute. So I'm looking at this. I'm like, okay, she don't want to take a rock type move at all. Her best bet is gonna be going into Ferrothorn, just because it's so full health. It does work, you know. It does quite a bit. So I predict the Ferrothorn, and I just 70% off a choice band, And that's actually pretty insane because Ferrothorn's Ferrothorn, and non-stop close combat doing probably 70% is just insane. But yeah, so predicting that was actually pretty crazy for me. That kind of just allowed me to, if Kieran were to come out and take this on, more reliably take it on. So there was that. I'm going to take some damage from Barbs and Rocky Helmet, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I'm just going to keep on close combating, and as she goes into Sylveon, I'm -2 in my defense, and she's got that lefties. So I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, I don't know what she's going to do. Because I didn't prep as much for the Sylveon. I was going to bring Silvally Steel for a moment, but then I was like, I need something to take on Garchomp and all that, and more reliably take on a fire type move from Darm. So I was just like, okay, I'll have Fairy, but it's whatever. I'll deal with it. I believe, what do I do from here? I switch out into Silvally. I'm at 39. And this thing hybrid voices. I'm at 2% now. So I'm looking at this. I'm like, okay, I go down to rocks now, and I need to just try to get off as much damage as I can, because I'm just kind of thinking like this could be a cleric, like Wish, Heal Bell, whatever. Sylveon, just kind of support the team and just support the team as much as she can. I get off a Heat Wave as she wishes, so I'm like, okay, she's gonna stay in or go out into like Silvally or something, or not Silvally. She's gonna do something to like just tank my hit. So I was thinking like she's gonna go out into Rotom, get that health back, do whatever. She does not do that. And I completely just forget about what this could do to me with Calm Mind. And you can already see my commissioner just like, bro, you're about to catch this heat. And I'm like, oh god, no. So I'm up against this +1s, and I'm already just thinking like, hey, I need to fucking get out of here. And just, like, I don't even care about if I lose the rock damage. Like, I need to get rid of this special attack as fast as I can. Get that wish up, and I'm just gonna parting shot out. And I'm thinking, like, probably gonna get up another Calm Mind, just because I can't do much to it right now. So I'm gonna go into Lycanroc right here as it, sets up a Calm Mind, or not. Yeah, I did not expect it to just click a damaging move right there. And like I said in the prep, if I lost Lycanroc, I think I just kind of lose the game. And because what is it? I got Blasef. Ishvalda is basically dead. Blasef, Kyurem, Groudon up against the Sylveon. You can kind of see where this is about to go. But yeah, I'm gonna go out into Blasef, and I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm probably not gonna win this, but I need to get off as much damage as I can. So I pop off the explosion, do half damage, or 50%. I was expecting to do a little bit more, but I didn't account for a full defense into like Sylveon. I was thinking it would do more like 70-80% damage, but I just kind of have to work with it. And this kind of goes into like Groudon as well, because I'm looking at this, I'm like, oh, well, if it took an explosion, then it's definitely gonna take this Aqua Jet 31%. I'm like, oh god, please no. Crawdon goes down. And I'm like, okay, at the very least, I know. Look, I know this is +2 Spadef, but I got Curum with Homeboy Flash Cannon ×2 damage against Sylveon. Don't make this a 6-0, I tell Carly. And you know what? She makes this a 6-0. And just lives on 3. And I just lose Victor. And because I switched out with Silvally, I'm going to lose that to Rocks. And yeah, you can see me beforehand, just like, yeah, GG's. 6-0. Woo! Yeah, so first game, 6-0, not that great. Or 0-6, I should say. I gotta give props to Carly where props are due. I didn't account for Sylveon coming at as much. Same with Moltres. Yeah, she didn't even have to bring out Garchomp or really do much with Curious George, you know? Like, she just kind of did her own thing and just mollywopped me. So, huge props to her. She definitely prepped way better than I did. I had 252s on my ass with speed. I didn't really account for how to, or not really how to, but just getting up certain speed EVs to outspeed certain Mons. I got quite lazy with that, which is on me. Quite honestly, this entire thing's on me. I thought I prepped okayish, but at the same time, I could have done way better, for sure. But yeah, no. I think with this 0-6 loss week 1, I just kind of have to bounce back, make sure I win my next game, or at least send a message in my next game, make sure I have fun with that. I know next week I'm up against Spices, which is the Texas Talonflames, I believe. He has quite a strong team as well, but I already have some ideas with that. But yeah, no. I'll hit you guys up with the prep and all that when we get to that. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, again, make sure you leave a like, comment, whatever. Maybe hit that subscribe button, you know. Keep seeing content like this, you know. I got another, so I'm in other leagues as well. I have another league planned to show to you guys with a draft analysis and week 1 coming out soon. So look out for that. And yeah, hope you guys just have a great rest of your day. Later.